The December 15 tip is a special case of our user dimension for benchmarking. In this dashboard I got two cross tabs, the one with countries and the one with salespersons. And also got a time dimension that I can use in a dynamic way, year to previous month like this, and year to previous month for previous year like this. Now these two numbers that we just saw here, we would like to compare that in the first cross tab as two columns. So I'm going to need a user dimension created as a comparison for that. So source data, use dimension, create a new use dimension and just give it a title. This one is going to be used for dynamic period comparisons. I'm going to call it that. But otherwise it's fairly simple. You go here and add your criteria based upon your time dimension, the same as this one up here, in a dynamic way. I can here simply select year to previous month as my first member and year to previous month's previous year as my second member. That will produce a cross tab like this with these column headers, which we probably want to change to something more dynamic. So I'll just right click here, table, dynamic captions, and edit for both columns at the same time. This cell value over here is the current text that you're seeing, so we'll just delete that, and then let's build our dynamic caption from my time dimension. We want some month information, month first, and another month which we change into month last, and also we need some year information like this. When I apply it, you'll see that it produces the desired result. So that was a user dimension just for a comparison. Now let's turn the attention to the other cross tab, the one with salespersons. Of course, when I select a salesperson here, it will just filter data accordingly. But what we would like here is actually to be able to select a salesperson and still be able to see all the data for all the other salesperson at the same time. And again, I'm going to need a use dimension for that. Let's just call this my benchmark use dimension, and I'm going to add two special members. Actually, notice here I'm not selecting any criteria, I'm just clicking the OK button, and I'm doing that twice. So now I got these two members. I need to rename it, so I'll just rename this one to all. There's a translation here that I need to get rid of in order to make sure that it always shows us all, and I'm going to do the same with this one here. I'm going to change the name to selected and also remove the translation. Okay, having done that, I got these two members now, and they will just show up as two columns as the other cross tab over here. And again, if I go here and select a salesperson, well, no change, we'll be seeing the same data in both columns. But what I'll need to do with my use dimension, I'll need to go to the all member here and make sure that I ignore any criteria coming from my salesperson dimension. So ignore members and members coming from my salesperson dimension here, and OK on that. And let's have a look. When I go here and do a new salesperson dimension selection, this one will still be showing all salespersons as you see it here, and only in the second column will be see data only for the selected salesperson. And now if we turn this cross tab into a bar chart like this, we'll be seeing the all and selected as two different colors here. And furthermore, if we go into properties of the bar chart and make sure that these bars are not side by side, but rather back to back, well, we can get the yellow bars on top of the blue ones as you see it here. And we can also do a sorting on the data like this. So right now we are looking at Barrett Forster as the selected one, and if we go into consumer mode, we can try a different salesperson like Vern Ferguson here, now being the selected salesperson. Now let's try to expand the benchmark option a little bit. I'll just duplicate this bar chart, and with the duplicate I'll just turn it back into a cross tab. This cross tab here, we're still looking at Brent Ferguson, and we'd like to look at those data compared to the average of all the other salespersons. And for that I'll need a calculation, so I'm going to add a calculation here as a single row, and let's just call it my average calculation. And the syntax for that will be avg of 0, the current column, all my rows, and current measure, and apply that. So that'll give this result. These are actually the two values I'd like to see in a bar chart once we get to it. So all the other values needs to be hidden. So going to properties and visibility, I can go and hide my salesperson values. So now we're ending up with just the two numbers we like to see. So let's just put this object right here in the lower left corner like this, and again let's turn it into a bar chart. Now with this bar chart, let's have a look at the properties here. A few things we like to change. For instance, the dimension axis where we're seeing average, we don't want to see that. And also with regard to my size of my bars, we can change that, and also we're going to add a label here, just the measure value like that. So let's do an OK on this, and these two names here, maybe they could be better. Looking at the crosstab here, this all, well, it's actually something coming from my use dimension. So if I go into that use dimension to edit it, I can simply change the name here. So maybe it's more appropriate to simply call it average here. While this one here probably should be dynamic according to the selected salesperson. So again, I can use this dynamic captions to, instead of the cell value here, to insert a salesperson name. So salesperson first will do here, and you can see it here. We got the name of the salesperson compared to the average of all the other salespersons, currently Bernd Ferguson. And we could try a few more. Sandy Walton here, and maybe a Jonah Bolton as well. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to present the next Christmas tip to you.